I try not to say much on Thanksgiving in light of those 20-minute prayers I used to listen to years ago. But whenever I think of Thanksgiving, and it's definitely probably my favorite holiday just because I spend more time thinking about stuff and trying to say thanks to the people and all the people that make my life possible and all the blessings that come our way. And I have little images, especially when I was a kid. When I was a kid, there was a lady named Esther, and she was the Sunday school superintendent at Gustavus Adolphus Lutheran Church. She had no family. I mean, she was single. She had no kids, no nieces, no nephews. It was just her and her mom. And my parents kind of became her family. And so her gift to us was to invite us to her South Shore apartment on Thanksgiving Day, where her mom would serve us Thanksgiving dinner. And her mom was something else. You know, she wore an apron, which was about the size of Illinois, and she just had big pots, and she invited us all over, and it was just wonderful. And then after her mom, oh, and it was funny because Esther always would say, "Now, boys," and we were little. She said, "I want you to dress up, you know, because Thanksgiving is kind of a special day." So we'd go to her little apartment, and we'd sit, and she only had steam heat, you know, which means the heat was either on or off. And usually it was on. And we would sit on her couch, which had plastic on it. And by 3:30 in the afternoon, we were so hot and sweaty, we just slipped off the couch onto the floor. But those are just good memories. But then her mom died, and so Esther said, "From now on, I'm going to take you out for Thanksgiving dinner." And I told my parents, I said, "No, there'll be no leftovers." And my mom said, "Don, you live with me. You will have leftovers for the rest of your life." So I remember the first time we went out for Thanksgiving dinner, it was at the South Shore Hotel in Hyde Park, an old building, and we were in there with a family, and I remember looking over in a corner, and there was an elderly gentleman dressed in a blue suit and a vest and a tie, and he was having Thanksgiving dinner all by himself. And I just sat there as a kid seeing our group and just watching, and I just said, "Why is he eating alone?" And I said, "Esther, he's all by himself." And she said, "Well, his wife died recently, and he would not even consider eating Thanksgiving with us. But every year when I think of Thanksgiving, I just picture this elderly gentleman in this fancy restaurant off in a corner having Thanksgiving dinner by himself. And I really wouldn't wish that on anybody. And it just makes me realize how important it is on places like Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever to make sure we somehow stay connected with family and friends. And when I think of leftovers, we still can't have that incredibly Thanksgiving dinner with St. Coletta's, but I think of Paquito, who's one of the counselors, and he is one of the counselors at one of the group homes, and he's been there for 35 years. And we had our Thanksgiving last night, and we had leftovers. So I called Paquito, and I said, "You working this week?" He said, "Yep." He said, "I have leftovers for you." And he said, "Yes." Because whenever there's extra food at the church or extra food at our house, we bring it to Paquito. And he turns leftovers into magic. Because in Paquito's mind, leftovers are not second best. To me, leftovers are better than firstovers. Because you heat them up and you put some new gravy on it and stuff like that. And boy, when I brought that stuff to Paquito this morning, you could just see the smile on his face that he was going to serve leftovers on Thanksgiving Day to his clients. And then even today, you know, you came in from Indiana and you said your mom, who's getting a little bit of dementia, she's 87 years old, and all year long she's been making knit hats for Ukraine. And you walked in here with 282 knit hats for Ukraine. Well, now there's 281 because I have one up here, you know. And I was just thinking of that kind of generosity. And I just want to call your mom, which I will, and just to say thank you. Because when somebody gives out of the bottom of their heart and they give what they can, that to me is what Thanksgiving is all about. And even the other day when obviously the Christmas trees aren't, we're going to have simplicity this year. We're not going to decorate. We're just going to keep the trees the way they are. But the other day when Jim Melka's group came in and they brought in the Christmas trees, and there were 5 of them. And they brought these trees into the church, and they set them up, and they swept, and they kept getting ready to leave, and they kept coming back because they wanted to make sure it was just right. And I looked into their eyes and the way these gentlemen respect our church and love our church. And afterwards, I went up to each one of them, and I just said, thank you. And I gave them a bucket of beer, and they said, thank you. And then I gave them cash, and they said, no, I can't accept it. And I said, too bad, it's yours. Because it's one way of just saying thanks for going the extra mile to make our church look special on Thanksgiving Day. And I realize that there are so many people in my life and so many people in your life that do things every single day to make it possible to get through a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday and a Thursday. And Thanksgiving is a time to step back and make sure that we take the time to just say thank you. Not just thanks, not just a quick thing, but to just go up somebody and look them in the eye and say thank you for what you do for me. And when somebody says thank you to me, it just makes me just want to well up inside. And it makes me realize that I probably don't say thank you enough unto others. And just to say thank you and to look at a person's eye and let them know that they're a little piece of your life and they make a difference to you. And I realize that one reason I like leftovers is because when you have leftovers, it gives you another chance to give something back. Because life is not about what's left over. Life is about what we have. And when we give, the refrigerator is always full. Our heart is never empty. And when you give unto others, that's what today is all about. And I want to wish each one of you a very blessed and hopefully spiritual Thanksgiving Day.